Hi, this is Oscar from Hammerfall, and I'm blowing it up on Capital Chaos TV. I first got into metal about the age of 10, give or take. It took me a couple of years to realize that heavy metal was what I really loved the most. And when I did, there was no turning back. The bands I was into first was Judas Priest, Accept, Kiss, that sort of thing. And I was never very much into American funk or soul. I really don't. I mean, I have no problem with it. It's just that I listen to metal, and that's what I listen to. So when I got into to metal, and I realized I wanted to play this, because I was playing the trombone for about 4 years before I learned that there was such a thing as a guitar. I didn't realize that before, and also that the guitar was mainly the main instrument of the music that I like to listen to. I wanted to start playing it. And back then, of course, you know, everybody who's been in a band, the very first thing that they do is not going to be great, and it wasn't, but it was fun as hell, and that's why we continue to do it. So when I formed Hammerfall in 1993, and this type of music was very, I guess you could say, outdated by the people who knew things. If you were a metal fan, you generally were a fan of the harder, more aggressive music, or grunge maybe. Which I wasn't, and not really, definitely not the grunge movement. So I decided to play heavy metal, and in 1993 it was quite difficult. I mean, I had friends who liked some melodic metal too, still, that weren't afraid to admit it, but they were not that many. So we were just doing this for the hell of it, just for fun, because we loved the music that we were playing. And the other bands that were around at that time, some of my best friends from that era is bands like Dark Tranquillity or In Flames or At the Gates. They all went on to become really famous in their respective death metal field. So it was a great atmosphere to grow up in Gothenburg, which is where I'm from. This was end of the 80s, early 90s. I have I was going to say 2 dogs, but I only have one left. We had to put the big one down a couple of months ago while I was on tour, actually, and that was the worst thing I've ever done in my whole life. It sucked so bad. Just make the decision. You're lying in your bunk on the bus, having to make the decision to part ways with your best friend, I guess you could say, for 11 years. I had him since he was 9 weeks old, and sorry, that was really difficult for me. But we still have one dog left, a small one, a mix between a Jack Russell and a Chihuahua. So he gets a lot more attention now that we only have the one. but that's so. I'm happy that we still have one. I have a kid too, so that helped. Like, you could focus a little bit on the kid more than. But it still was such a big hole left. Sometimes, I mean, this was in January, and when we came back from the tour, I've been on tour many times over the years that I had him, and I generally come back. My mom has him, or my girlfriend, depending on the schedule for both of them. But sometimes he's not there when I come back because my mom has him for another couple of days. She wants to make me rest a little bit before he comes back. I don't know, whatever it is. So when I came back this time, I knew he was never coming back. But it still felt for weeks. It felt like, oh, he's probably going to be back here soon. You know, he's just having a vacation with his. I guess after me, his absolute favorite person on earth was my mother. They loved each other. So that's what it felt like. He was just with her for a while. But you know, you move on from these things. Eventually, we're going to get another dog, I think. It's just a matter of timing. But I miss him really so much. So we have a new album out called Built to Last. It's been out for about 6 months, maybe 7 soon. And some of my favorite tracks of that album is, I think the Built to Last, the title track, is really fun to play live, and I love to see the reaction of people. You can tell that not everybody knows exactly how the song goes, but they want to know and they want to get into it. It's so much fun to see that song. Just people are bobbing their heads all the time, and then when the chorus comes, they usually get into it a little bit more. And also, I have to say, Hammer High. That's the first single that we did a video for this album, and that song, when that comes, even here, which I was, I didn't know what to expect, but even here, there's about a 99% audience participation in that song, and that makes me so happy to see. I love it.